Well, welcome to today's rant. And this one has some of the most serious material I may have ranted about yet in regard to current events. And it is unbelievable the way so many things are actually coming to a critical stage, maybe a critical mass. But, there's we think, it's already being called a major constitutional crisis, bigger than Watergate, more serious than Watergate. We'll talk about that at the end. But the most imminent issue is what is called the government shutdown, which is a misnomer, which is already being dubbed the Shumer Shutdown for Chuck Schumer, the Democrat majority leader in the Senate. No question, this is so unnecessary, but it's not even the biggest deal. It is not a big deal at all. The government shutdown is a misnomer. The government does not shut down. They shut down all unnecessary, unessential services until they can refund the government with another resolution or ultimately, hopefully, a budget. So, and then this one is not going to be as, I would say, inconvenient as previous ones for one reason. We've got a real leader in the White House now who has prepared for this. In case it happened, things have been set in place. They said a Republican shutdown is not going to look anything like a Democratic Party shutdown. Obama wanted to shut down the government in 2013, and he wanted it to be as painful as possible for people because it was being blamed on the Republicans, and he wanted them to get as much blame as possible. Well, this one's not going to be blamed on the Republicans, even though they think they can do that. The Democrats actually think the Republicans are going to get blamed for this, and it isn't going to happen. Anybody with any sense at all can understand this is a total Democratic Party shutdown. It's an intentional one. I think it's going to backfire. To me, it is like watching Haman in the book of Esther getting hung on his own gallows. It's bizarre how they're thinking. And but the Democratic Party is imploding. They, when you think they can't make any bigger mistakes and can't do things that are going to hurt themselves any more than what they've already done, they come up with new ways to hurt themselves. It is truly remarkable. And this one, I think, is really going to hurt them. But, you don't want to see people just get hurt. You don't want to, see the people getting hurt. And I think Trump has made plenty of provisions. One provision is no Social Security people will ever not get a check. That has been put in place, so that's just not going to happen. And, when the partial government shutdown happens, a lot of government workers don't get paid. They go on working without paychecks and all, because the unessential services includes those who are printing the checks, obviously. But, Trump has put things in place that even the military will get their checks, and everybody will be taken care of, at least for the foreseeable future. Unless this thing really drags out for months and months, which it isn't going to happen, because it's going to deeply wound the Democrats who are trying to use this ploy. But understand, it's not a big deal. A lot of people thought we need some government shutdowns. We could shut down half the government. Most of the nation would not even know anything was not being done. That so much of what the government is consumed in doing is unessential, and some of it's even counterproductive to the health of the country. But anyway, won't get into all that. But it looks like we're almost certainly headed for such a shutdown unless the Democrats wake up before tonight and pass another continuing resolution. But anyway, the really serious issue, I think far more serious than this government shutdown, is the memo. You know, some of the things, remember how the DOJ has stonewalled giving the congressional panel investigators a lot of the memos and emails going back for a couple of years now. Even when after Sessions took over, they have, the deep state in the DOJ, the people way down, have just done everything they could to release these memos. Well, they finally had to release them last week. And reading them, the shock was so great that on both parties, what was actually going on in our Department of Justice and in our FBI, that I don't think there's any question, this is no exaggeration, if there's any definition of treason against a democracy or against a republic, this is it. We had people in our Department of Justice and the FBI resolved they were going to put the fix in on who was going to win the election. And then if for some reason Trump won in spite of their fix, they had an insurance policy to bring him down immediately, which turns out to be exactly what the whole Mueller investigation special prosecutor deal is. It was their insurance policy to try to bring Trump down and get rid of him afterwards. It's all backfiring. I mean, everything they've done or been doing, it really does seem like, you remember Haman in the book of Esther, who was so determined to hang Mordecai on these gallows. He built the gallows for Mordecai. The tables got so turned that Haman ended up getting hung on his own gallows that he had built for others. And it looks like this is it. Well, the Republicans in the committees overseeing our intelligence and the Judicial Department, they are so outraged, so appalled what was in these memos and communications within the DOJ and the FBI. They are absolutely resolute. These must be shown to the American people. Across party lines, the Democrats are saying, no way, these cannot be shown to anyone. Why would they want to hide them if they have nothing to hide? Well, they've got a lot to hide. It looks like the tentacles of this thing is going to go far, wide, deep, and high. We'll have to see when they're actually released, but I don't think there's any doubt right now that they will be released. But those who have seen them said, look, this is not just going to result in people getting fired. It's going to result in people being prosecuted, sent to prison. It is really bad. It obviously, the whole Mueller the whole Mueller and the whole Russian collusion farce is going to be immediately and instantly discredited if it hadn't been already. It's been well discredited for a long time. But this corruption, those who have seen it said, yeah, this is worse than Watergate. Think about that. Our DOJ and FBI saying they're not going to let the will of the people in a republic, determine our government. They are going to determine our government. This handful of people near the top said they weren't going to trust the people. They're going to have their people in power. Now we see also why they were so desperate to have their people in power, why they went so nuts, so insane when Trump won. They had so much to hide. If this stuff gets discovered, if this stuff gets out, it's going to blow the wheels off of every other controversy or anything for a long time to come. And the direct links to the Clinton campaign, clear that they had a fix in for the election, clear that if the fix didn't work, They had what they were going to fall back on. They were not going to allow the will of the people to prevail if Trump was elected. I mean, it can't be worse. Treason in a republic. It just can't be worse than that. And anytime you have the Department of Justice and the FBI politicized, it is the most serious thing. That is the biggest step you can take towards becoming a Gestapo or totalitarian rule and reign, and the destruction of the republic itself. That's the biggest step you could take, and the worst. And people in our government, in the FBI and the DOJ took that step. It is treason. It is absolute treason. Anyway, the Dems are right now fighting like anything to quash this. They want to distract from it, let the government, I think as bad as they're probably going to be hurt by the government shutdown, they would rather that happen than for these memos to get the public's attention. Well, I tell you, every one of us need to see what's in them and read them. And anyway, this is potentially the biggest constitutional crisis in our lifetime. I think it definitely will be. So, I just ask you also to consider. I've got so much stuff to share today. There's more serious than just about anything I've shared in a long, long time. But those two things really need to be the main things on our radar screen today, and I don't want to detract from them by getting into other things that revelations have come out about. And I'm not talking about prophetic revelation here. I'm talking about exposure, physical evidence exposure coming out about what was going on in our government, and we need to focus on those. I just ask you, the liberal media is not, they're going to go as far as they can from covering this memo. They haven't touched it yet that I know of. Maybe some have, but I haven't seen any I can't imagine. This is going to doom. This kind of stuff will absolutely doom the extremists on the left, no doubt about it. And if this had come out on the right, I tell you, we should be just as appalled, just as disturbed, and just as resolute that it be punished. You can't let this go. You can't say this was okay to do. We won't last. There has to be justice in things like this. Even when people repent in the natural, there has to be consequences there, because otherwise others will do it and be able to get away with it and always point back, well, they got away with it, which a lot of people have been doing anyway. Treating our classified and top secret information so carelessly because they point at Hillary Clinton and say, look what she did. I'm not doing anything near as bad as what she did. And they've got a point. That's why these things have to be prosecuted. It's not vengeance. It's defending our nation, defending our security. It is defending it against future abuses like this. It's not to just get even. It's not political payback. These were serious laws against our nation, against every American, and against the very existence of our republic. They have to be prosecuted. So I'll be sharing more about this. I got a whole lot more really serious stuff to share. I don't like to do it on weekends. I may get into some because this is coming so fast right now, but on weekends I like to kind of take a break and really just focus on the Lord. But I will be bringing out some other stuff that, search it out. It's out there now. The facts are out there. Everything I say, check it out and see if what I'm saying is not the truth. Dig deeper yourself. Then it's yours, not just mine. You didn't just hear from me. But in the meantime, I ask you to please share this with your friends. Please share this video with your friends. Any way that you can, like it, share it, get the word out so that people's attention is focused on what is about to unfold. Now, I think the end result's going to be we're going to be stronger and safer than ever, but we have got to face this issue. It is a constitutional crisis without question, and a major one. The biggest one in our lifetime, I think, by far. So thank you for joining me. Please pass this on.